Well, a very good morning to you if you're just joining us. Thank you for joining us on the News Review segment on the AM show. What's got you cracking up, Mama V?
Oh, is there some disco in the studio?
Quite interesting. You know, I always think sometimes backstage what happens here. You know, the people on the other end watching us on television, they have no idea. It's just, oh, I'm looking at Mama V, I'm looking at Ben, and it's all going down. But it's a seminal.
Oh yeah.
Charlie.
I mean, it's one big family, and sometimes things happen. All right, we hope that you're all doing well. It's a Thursday. Gradually, we're getting to the end of another week. God, as always, remains very faithful to us.
Does the week ever end?
Not faithful. Excuse me?
Does the week ever end?
We'll be sassive.
In reality, though, I mean, sometimes the weekend ends up busier than the week, and you ask yourself, Charlie.
It's true.
Hey.
Yeah, but God is always faithful.
Yeah.
So somehow, He gives us rest, you know? Yeah. Sometimes you're really, really seriously tired, but some vim becomes when you're expected to work. And it's all by God's grace. So we hope that you're all doing well. Thank you for joining us. You've made it in good time. We're coming to review the papers that we have in the studio. We will do myjoyonline.com as well if time permits. So Ben, I have the Daily Graphic, the Times, the Statesman, the Ghanaian Publisher.
I have the Daily Guide, the Business Finder, the Daily Dispatch, and the Business and Financial Times. So let's dig into it. I'll start with the Daily Guide. It says, Joe Garte vouches for Dame. I'm talking here about the Attorney General designate, Godfred Yeboah Dame. Pictures there of both of them. Joe Garte, of course, axed from the administration, right? I think he said something, was it late last year, about the possibility of his wanting to contest for
the presidency. Oh, yeah.
Of the MPP.
I mean,
I guess it was all roads down from there, because right after that, you know, whispers and then Charlie.
I mean, he was categorical. It wasn't like he was insinuating. He said he was going to do it.
But he would have expected that he would be one of those who would be maintained in some way. So for him to be one of those completely taken out,
well, once you've disclosed your ultimate interest, now that everybody knows that he's aiming to be president, it won't be fair on the face of it to have him occupy.
But why not? Who says there are not? I mean, who says Alan
Chemartin?
Let's be.
Have they gone to town with it?
Who says Alan Chemartin is not gearing up? Who says that?
Well,
who says he's not?
Has he gone to town with it?
I mean, who doesn't know? Who is that stranger in Jerusalem or Galilee who doesn't know he's not going?
Also, you can say for sure that he's
I cannot say for sure. I cannot put words in his mouth. But I'm saying that within even the party, how many people would doubt the fact that come 2024 or come the year before when any contests are held, he is not going to be one of those on the ticket? We all know it. All the studies include him.
I have heard people say things to that effect, but I don't know. I'm just saying, on the face of it, if you go to town with it, then it will be unfair, really, because then the assumption will be that everything you will be doing will be
aimed at
just furthering that cause of yours that you've made public. I think it's just appropriate that, you know, he was
maybe a foible on his part, a slip of tongue, if you like, but I feel he was doing pretty well. Anyway, two cops robbed gold dealer to the tune of $209,172. Then health minister grilled over COVID and some of the answers that came through. Look, later on the show, we have a bit of a conversation with Dr. Yaobe Diakon when it comes to COVID-19. You can pose all your questions there. One of those questions I'm going to be posing has to do with AstraZeneca and its effectiveness, so to speak. Because, you know, he told us yesterday, the health minister designate, that we are not getting the Pfizer one because of temperature concerns, you know, conditions under which it must be managed so it doesn't go bad. So we're going for AstraZeneca. But here's a situation where with the AstraZeneca vaccine, in fact, South Africa jettisoned it a few days ago because it's, about 20% effective now? So if that's what we're getting into the country, question is, what if, and we've had both the South African and UK strains in Ghana. South Africa, What will be the use? Will it become redundant? Are we just going to waste resources on this? So a lot going on in my mind.
I thought it was a very good. They asked some very good questions, and
yeah, I was actually impressed.
Except that I was expecting a follow-up on this issue of AstraZeneca. South Africa has abandoned it,
and I would have.
And especially because we have the variant, but that won't take anything away. I think they did such a fantastic job. Except that 5 hours, that's a bit too much.
I mean, yesterday,
especially because
late into the evening, they were still having a session.
The condition that we find ourselves in with the pandemic, I don't think you should have someone for 5 hours. I thought the new MPs did a good job as well. The questions were on point.
Yeah. I mean, I was just listening to Muntaka and then Haruna Idrisu and the way they... I think we're getting to that point where, and maybe it's a good thing because of the nature of our parliament currently. Who knows? Who knows?
Or maybe we are now paying a lot more attention also to them because of the situation that we find ourselves in. But I like our health minister, by the way. I thought he was very decisive in answering the questions.
You get the impression he knows a lot of what is going on.
Yeah, for somebody who said, he came into it, of course, not with the background of a medical person, but he's aware of a lot of things going on in the sector, and he's a very open-minded person. I like that as well, and he wasn't holding back. I mean, I think there are just very few things that he said. I mean, if it's sharing my opinion, then I would like to stay away from it. I like him more.
Interesting bit between him and Okudzeto Abbas.
Except that he's not happy with Joy FM because they rated him 49%. He insists the police hospital is not under me.
In
and
fact,
I don't know why people benchmark me with those projects.
He mentions a number of them. The bank hospital in cantonments. He mentions a number of them that are not. But I think just in passing, we should also acknowledge Joe Wise. I think he also carried himself well as a bit of an arbiter. I mean, he did okay.
He always does.
Soldiers' invasion of Parliament strange. That's according to Albert Kandapa. He's another person who was on the chopping block yesterday. And honestly, I'll just a few comments on this. The bit about the short committee not recommending how much should be given to people who had suffered some injuries or whatever from the Ayawaso West Wugon bit. I felt, which commission of inquiry adds, it's up to you to do the right thing. And that question was posed, to him. I don't feel he answered that well because there's that gentleman who was a footballer, I think, whose shin, if you watched the photos and videos from that day, I mean, his bones were basically splattered on the floor. He can't do what he does to take care of his family. Until now, nothing has been done for that gentleman.
I think it was
the Techiman South issue brought it up, saying that, they don't know the Asawase 7 gentlemen who were killed. Compensation was given later on, but the fact is the perpetrators, what happened to them? I feel there were too many questions Kandapa was not answering properly, and I think that's a problem. Quack doctor nabbed over mother-baby deaths. I know this is something you've been following and something we should get into. And then let me quickly go to, let's see what the middle spread says very quickly. Actor Kojo Dadson dies at 68, actually. He was undergoing dialysis for kidney disease. Unfortunate, very unfortunate incident. Funny Face arrested in Kaswa for unlawful discharge of firearm. This thing is becoming a problem. And on the back page, Conte demands Juve respect. Arteta is helping me. That's according to Thomas Partey. And Walker walks back to Olympics.
Walker walks back to Olympics. I like
he is
that.
A walker.
All right, let me get into the Daily Graphic newspaper. On the front page, Supreme Court decides today, CPC 10's operations round. Data bank withdraws from Ejapa deal. I'll tell you a lot more about this deal that got many people talking. There was a report, remember, from the special prosecutor then. And I guess it was events following that led him to leave office. But the banner headline here, government orders 355,000 doses of vaccines. Minister designate for health discloses, adverting. Haruna trying to pin him and get him to state exactly when we should expect the vaccines in Ghana. But he gave a certain period, so mid-February to mid-March.
Can I sneak in something? With all apologies. You know the bit I brought in, just because you've mentioned the vaccine bit. I skipped this headline in the Daily Guide. Page 5, South Africa may swap or sell AstraZeneca's COVID-19 vaccine.
Yeah, so their health minister has been talking. I think it was on Wednesday that disclosure was made. They're holding on to AstraZeneca and going the Johnson & Johnson way. Our minister also said that yesterday, but those are not available to us. See, South Africa has money. That's the thing that we have to also look at.
They have the wherewithal that we don't.
They've got the money, so they can do.
But in our case, it's not so much about the money, looking at the COVAX agreements and everything. I think it's more about the conditions with the Pfizer one. It's complicated dealing. But in a way, you're right. It does boil down to money.
Massa.
It does boil down to money. Because if you can make the right arrangement, it will cost you more, but then you can do it. It's true.
Yeah.
It is.
But the Johnson & Johnson, they haven't gone through the entire testing yet. So that's also a risk that they're taking if you read the entire story on that. Yeah. So, yeah.
More from the Daily Graphic?
Unconventional, yes, absolutely. A lot more from the Daily Graphic. This story about a Japan, maybe I can just read a bit of it. On page 23, it says brokerage and financial advisory firm Databank Group has withdrawn as transactional advisors from the gold royalties monetization transaction arrangement, popularly referred to as the AJAPA deal. And this was contained in a letter signed by Chief Executive Officer Kojo Adai-Mensah. So essentially, they talk about how they're very good at this, and they were doing this as, to show patriotism, but some other people have twisted the facts, especially events leading to election 2020, and they are sort of bringing, drawing the group into its name down, so they want to withdraw from the project. And they make the link that, of course, because its co-founder is the finance minister, that's why that conclusion has been drawn. But so they are moving away because they were partners to a financial advisor. They were local partner with Imara Tara Holdings, a transactional advisors for the deal. But now they're breaking off that relationship. Essentially, that's what the story says. Let's see what's in the center spread of the paper. Okay, I can skip that into the back page of the Daily Graphic. Power supply in Greater Kumasi to improve, according to Gridco. Government to construct 111 district hospitals. Minister designate for health, and there were questions on the regional hospitals, the other hospitals that were, promised. Yeah. There was the issue of it was the president, or it is the president vision
district
that we should have
and all of that
brought to life, but so many things happened and we couldn't. I like the follow-up. Was it Elizabeth Ejari who asked that question? Said, what if within this 4 years you're confronted with the same situations that did not make it possible for us to see these projects? But again, that's why I said I like this finance minister. He says, I can't promise you. I cannot promise you. It's just, honest with it. There's a lot more in the Daily Graphic newspaper that you can...
Quickly with the Daily Dispatch now. For 16 Council of State positions, 14 chiefs among 102 candidates. And of course, you know that Mr. Francis Nyonyo wants to continue representing the Volta region. Check out that story on page 12 of the Daily Dispatch. 2020 parliamentary results, that's also in there. KB Kwanson on June 4, the explosion. Here's an interesting one. Where and why Joe Gate told Godfred Dame in 2006 that he will become Ghana's Attorney General someday. I'll just take a bit of that story. It says, on June 15, 2006, a young, dynamic and vibrant lawyer came to my office. He came to my office as a private practitioner to discuss a case in which he wanted to serve a subpoena on me in my official capacity to testify. I think I've whipped up your interest now. If I read the entire story, I wouldn't be fair to the paper. So you go and grab yourself a copy. But pretty interesting because he prophesied, that this would happen, that he would be a deputy AG and finally become an attorney general. That is Godfred Dame. And it has come to pass, some 5 attorney generals after the man Joe Gate. When you go to the middle spread, From Revolution to Constitutionalism, PNDC Era to Fourth Republic. You can also check out the PNDC's call for revolution and its structure. On the back page, there's Abu Jinapo hands over borehole to Busuno in Damongo. So that story there as well in the Daily Dispatch.
Let's do the Ghanaian Times newspaper. I'm just reading details of a story about a fake lawyer who's been grabbed by the police for recruitment
People get
scam. And let me just say, by the way, that there's some statement out which says beware of armed forces enlistment scam. The deadline for the Ghana Armed Forces enlistment was Friday, February 5th, 2020. So if somebody tells you that, let me sort you out, bring money, let me sort you out and get you into the Ghana Armed Forces, that one, a lie, they've already closed.
And there are so many people doing this.
Yeah.
Before, you know, the real thing came out, I had a lot of people send me stuff. Is this true? Is this true? I had to tell them, no, it's not, until the official thing, you know, was out. A lot of people are scamming others with these things. Not just the military, the police. I mean, all of these bodies just scamming people.
Yeah. So Supreme Court settles argument 4 against cross-examination of EC chair today. Western Region Police intensify public education on COVID-19 protocols, distribution of COVID-19 vaccines. Ghana procures 355,000 doses to immunize 20 million people. This story about the fake lawyer. He's a 30-year-old man who's been carrying himself as a lawyer. He met a number of people, a businessman, a cleaner, driver, and trader, and he agreed to settle some land issue related troubles with one of them and told him that. So this person actually paid, in the story, they say 7,000, okay? He paid 7,000 for the land to a certain chief. The chief refunded, gave him, I think, about 5,000 or 5,000 something. This so-called lawyer took the rest of the money and said that he will produce it as an exhibit in courts. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what that means. So it will be used as evidence in courts. And Charlie, some of the things. So this is there's another one where he met one of those who've complained in this incident at the Kumasi Circuit Court canteen, fully dressed as a lawyer. He took 11,500 Ghana cedis as processing fees from the complainants and went into hiding. Police said on December 30, the incident was reported and the police arrested this lawyer. The accused denied being a lawyer in his caution statement. Prosecutor said the police retrieved 1 lawyer's wig, 3 law books, and a Ghana Bar Association annual general meeting brochure held in the Ashanti region on November 24 from the accused when a search was conducted on him.
You're not a lawyer. You know, if it walks like a duck, it must be a duck. But in this case, but the lawyer's wigs are pretty expensive, especially the pig's hair or horse hair.
Dude is a good businessman.
So if he has 3 of them, Charlie, the guy make money.
Hey, exhibit spa. All right, let's check out what's in the center spread. So this is the Volta Development Forum, an apolitical organization. They plan to establish farms in all districts in the Volta region as part of its agro-developing agenda. And then police urged to close down LGBTQ office. The National Coalition for Proper Human Sexual Rights and Family Values has called on the Inspector General of Police and other relevant institutions to immediately close down the office of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, the Q, no, is it queer or what?
Yeah, queer.
Located in Tesano. According to the coalition, the setting up of the office in the country was against cultural values of the country and should not be allowed to operate in the country. So Executive Secretary of the coalition, Moses Fuamoni, said this yesterday at a press briefing in Accra. It is aimed at articulating the correct position on proper human sexual behavior, but put forward a well-reasoned and informed position against gay rights, propose modern comprehensive solution-based legislation for dealing with such abnormal behaviors and tendencies. There's a lot more to this than just what I have read. Grab the paper and read more. Akosombo International School adopts shift system on the back page. The Ghana Tourism Authority yesterday donated personal protective equipment and cocoa-based product to the Ghana Medical Association to support the fight against COVID-19. That story is here. Also, 779 communities out of a total of 1,167 communities in the Upper West region have since 2011 been declared open defecation free. All right, that's it for the Times.
All right, so looking at the time, owing to its passage, I'll just do this very briefly from the last two papers. Business Finder, exporters to UK unhappy over non-involvement in UK-Ghana trade pact. You know what's been happening in recent times, Brexit and the new arrangements with countries like Ghana. SNIT committed to pensioners' welfare. Inflation drops to 9.9%. That's with the Business Finder. The BNFT, farmer makers call for government support to produce COVID-19 vaccines locally. And we're encouraged by disinfection of our facilities. That's according to the Ashanti Regional Police Commander. That's it for the last two papers I have.
All right, let's do the Daily Statesman newspaper. Ekufado remains committed to Agenda 88. Health Minister designate assures reconstruction of Takoradi Market Circle to begin. I guess I'll just wrap it up there. We can go to, if there are any stories you want to highlight before we do my
So I'll just do this one. Because you spoke about a quack lawyer, how about the quack doctor? Find out his case.
Charlie, these guys are brave.
Yeah. They are molded in the same vessel as a certain doctor, something I'll not use. So, a self-styled traditional birth attendant, Paul Amonu, popularly known as Dr. Paul, has been arrested on suspicion of causing the deaths of an expectant mother and her baby. The sad incident occurred at a facility in Peaceland, a suburb of Zenu in the Kpong Katamanso municipality of the Greater Accra region. But in essence, according to the police, preliminary investigations revealed the 35-year-old man falsified documents to open the supposed health facility called Royal Mediclinic at Peaceland. So, sometimes, I don't know, but when you're in a health situation, you're not going looking around the facility looking for this certificate or that certificate. But Charlie, sometimes you ought to be... We must just look out more because there are a lot of these people around. And a lot of them have not been nabbed yet.
I was hoping that you conclude what you started. We should look out for what? You know you're sick. All you're looking out for really is a person who looks like he knows what he's doing.
But
he's confident about it.
Facility, that's it. Better ensure that you're going to get your health restored, not your health worsened.
When you find yourself in an emergency situation and somebody else that has to carry you to the facility, then you say, watch out where you're going. Sometimes you're unconscious. You don't even know who is taking you where.
You end up in the... it's in the grave.
I think it's the regulators that must do a good job. You must intensify what they're already doing and save all of us, really. MyJoyNews.com, just before we make way for sports, real quick. A commander ordered military into parliamentary chamber on eve of swearing in, according to Kandapa, who says the CAS
but we don't know which commander
is investigating, apparently, to find out if anybody did something wrong. Kandapa justifies military protection for public officials. A part of Accra to experience power cuts from today, Thursday, February 11. Return Bribe, that documentary that we've held on, well, the TV version. FDA lawyer goes to court of appeal, stores her injunction hearing. Please read the story. We'll tell you how many times her lawyers have gone to courts just so we cannot show that documentary. We'll see what the Court of Appeal says. The High Court is waiting for that decision from that higher court. I didn't interrogate procurement processes for KIA COVID testing facility. Health Minister designate, he said it at his vetting yesterday and also justified that by saying, COVID just came and it was impossible to go through all the proper processes. So when you realize something hasn't been properly streamlined, then you get them to correct it. That's what we've been doing, apparently. There are plenty of stories on myjoyonline.com. Please make time and read.
Well, that's it. It's 7 already. Time now for us to cede our positions and allow the sports crew to take over from here. Some interesting stuff coming your way. Do stay.